Good afternoon and welcome if you're watching live or if you're watching on demand. Glad to have you join us. So let's get started talking about macOS 14.4 on GoFor Lunch for March 19th, 2024. Brought to you by GoFor Technology. I'm Roger Harmon, your host, and we are here to make your technology work for you on the first day of spring. Can you believe it? It's the spring equinox, so hopefully things will start getting a little warmer. I heard some birds chirping this morning, and we'll see more insects running around. So spring is here. So also Mac OS 14.4 is here for good or for worse. We'll talk about the worst part here in a moment, so hang in there with me. So as far as installation is, that brings up what I have been saying for years, is that you should turn off your automatic updates on both your Mac and your iPad and your iPhone. And we will learn why that's important here shortly. So the good news is that there were 50 security patches, including areas such as Bluetooth, Image I/O, Music, Notes, Photos, Safari, ShareSheet, Shortcuts, Siri, Spotlight, System Settings, WebKit.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cancel. The S lady wanted to talk to us there. Plus 14 bug fixes. So lots of things going on there, which kind of puts us into a little conundrum. So the same emojis that we talked about last week with iOS 17.4 are there, with the 18 people and body emojis, so you can point them either direction. Here are the new emojis: the phoenix, the mushroom, the lime, the head shaking up and down, the broken chain, and the head shaking right to left. So the city digital clock in the widgets is there. So let's talk about how you can add that to your Mac screen. So you would click on time in the upper right hand corner of your screen, and then you would scroll down to the bottom and click on Edit Widgets. Then you could use the search to find the widgets, or you could just scroll through all the available widgets that will be displayed there. And then you have the option, if you like, to drag a widget right to your desktop. So it's always sitting there on your desktop. You don't have to go looking for it. And then on the city digital clock, you would edit the city by right-clicking. If you don't have right-click turned on, you can hold down the Control key and click. We call that a control click. And then you would click on Edit. You can then search for the city that you want to have on your digital clock, and then tap Done, and you are finished. So let's see how that works. So look, I have installed macOS 14.4 on my 2018 Mac Mini. So we're going to go up here to the top right corner where I have the day, the date, and the time. We're going to click there. As you can see, there are some widgets already there, but we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and we have this little gray button that says Edit Widgets. So when we click on that, we get a What's New screen, which is very helpful. And we can just scroll through this screen here and look at the different widgets. Or we can go over here to the search bar and find one. So let's type in SIT. Okay, so now we have the city digital. And remember from last week, we want to get the one that has a city abbreviation above the time, because there is another one that does not have that, and you can't change the city. It just gives you local time. So we're going to click on that, and there it goes. It's over here. So it is set for Cupertino. So if we do a right click on it, then we click on Edit Clock. Now we get the opportunity to change. So if we click on the city, then we get a search bar here at the top. So let's just type in NEW, and let's go for Eastern Daylight Time, which is New York City. We click on Done, and there it is, 3:05 in New York City. Now if I want, I can drag this. I have to get out of the widget edit mode, which I do just by clicking on the desktop, and then I can go back up here on the time to get back to the widgets, scroll down here to the city digital, and I can just put that anywhere I want on my screen. So it also tells me, of course, that New York City is 3 hours ahead of our local Mountain Standard Time. And now if I click on anywhere on the desktop, the widget panel slides off. So that is how you do widgets. Now let's do another one here. So let's go back up here, click on time, and let's do a weather widget. So I'm going to go down to the bottom, click here, and then I'm just going to search for weather over here in the top left corner in the search. So WEA, and as you can see, we have lots of different selections for the weather widget. I'd like to know what's happening in the future, so I am going to get this weather widget that has a 4-day forecast. So here we can see, now if I click here, it gets rid of the widgets, click on the desktop. We can see here that this is Cupertino. Well, I'm not really concerned about that, so I right click or control click to edit weather. Same procedure here. I'm going to type in TUC. There's Tucson, Arizona in the United States. So it says Tucson. Now I click on Done. And now you can see that on Friday and Saturday, it's going to be 81 degrees in the old Pueblo. So that's spring for you. So that's how you do widgets on your Mac. So in the Apple Podcast app, we also have transcripts like we do on iOS. And again, those transcripts started on March 5th, and older podcasts will have them catching up later on. But any podcast that was released after March 5th should have a transcript. So you can search in the transcripts, you can tap on website links and go to a certain place, web address, and you can scroll up and down. Now, what you cannot do in the Mac version of the transcripts in the podcast app is you cannot go to a portion of the transcript and have the audio follow you there. So that part does not work on the Mac, only on iOS. So let's go back to our Mac, and we have the podcast icon here, which is the purple background with the two circles and a little person in the center. And here is our home page. So these are all of the podcasts to which I have subscribed. So let's take macOS Ken. I can just start the podcast right here with the play button in the lower left-hand corner of the macOS Ken plaque, I guess we could call that.
Part in that, Tim Cook started teasing a big AI announcement from Apple about a month
So that was coming through my microphone. That's why the audio was not so clear. And howdy, Chris. And so now if I go up, so these are show notes right here. So those come up automatically. But if I want to see a transcript, I can go up here, and you notice the three dots, which I believe is called an ellipse. If I'm not on the banner, they don't show up. So you have to have your cursor arrow up there. You click on that, and then you slide down here to view transcript. So now we have a transcript. So we can go through here, but we can't, as we can in iOS 17.4, we can't just click on an area and have the audio go to that portion of the transcript. But what we can do is we can click on a website link. So we're going to click on macOS Ken right there, and it goes right to that link. So that's a nice feature. And of course we can copy this and paste it somewhere else. So you can do some things in the transcripts, but not everything. You can do a search here. So if we wanted to search for, let's say, Manhunt, which is a new Apple TV show, you can see there it's highlighted here in 3 different places. The first one is yellow, and the second one and third one are in white. So that's handy. If you want to go back and find some information you heard on a podcast, you can search the transcript. So that is a good feature to have on your Mac. So now for the bad part of the macOS 14.4 update. Your printer may not work after you update. And I actually had this happen to me on my 2018 Mac Mini. I updated to macOS 14.4, and my Brother laser printer did not work. I was able to delete the printer driver, reinstall it, and now it works. But wait, there's more. Java may not work. Now this is probably not going to affect you as a user, but it does affect people working on websites where Java is used in the infrastructure of those websites. But you may not experience any problems with this yourself. So another problem was a USB hub may not work. So as we all know, the number of ports on modern Macs has been dwindling, especially on MacBooks, and we all are using hubs of some kind to add more peripherals. Now, it's kind of confusing as to whether this is USB hubs in general or if it's just the hubs that are built into monitors. It seems like most of the complaints are people that are using the hubs that come built into some monitors. And some people have had problems with their external monitors not working on 14.4. So a possible workaround for that excuse me, is to go to your system settings, privacy, and security, and then change the setting that says allow accessories to connect to the setting that says ask for new accessories. Before you change that, you would probably want to disconnect all the peripherals to your hub, and then after you change the setting, plug them in once at a time, give them permission to be used, and many people have found that that is a successful workaround to get their peripherals back online. So I just found this today. Another bug with macOS 14.4 is if you've turned on optimized Mac storage in your settings, which is Mac storage on iCloud, then you may lose previously saved versions of files if you delete a file it will delete all the versions of that file. So the way it's supposed to work, you delete that file, the versions are kept. But now if you delete one version, they all go away. So allegedly, according to an article I read, Apple is saying don't save files to iCloud Drive. Now this is pretty revolutionary that Apple would say that. They're also saying you can also disable the storage optimization setting until they get this bug fixed. So this reminds me of something that we've been talking about forever, and that is the 3-2-1 backup strategy. And to review, what that means is that you have 3 backups. You have 2 different kinds of media, which was the original way that strategy was characterized. However, in the original days when they came out with a 3-2-1 backup strategy, they were thinking about using CDs and DVDs, which we found out since they're not that great for archiving data for long periods of time. And then one off-site. So one of these backups could be a time machine external drive. Another one could be a clone using a carbon copy cloner or super duper. And then the off-site would be something like Backblaze, which does backup continuously to off-site servers. Now you could also get an external drive and move it off-site yourself. Bob and Kurt do this. I think about once a month they swap backup drives, and so they have a backup that is off-site. Of course, with Backblaze, it's updated every day, so that is something to consider. So if you have anything valuable on your internal Mac drive, you want to be using the 3-2-1 backup strategy. Well, tonight is the Tucson Macintosh Users Group meeting, and we have a special presentation on the Apple Vision Pro by Dr. Marty Jinkus, who has been using his Apple Vision Pro headset since they came out. So he'll have some great insights on how that has been working for him and how he is using it. And we are looking forward to joining you tonight on a Zoom link to the TMUG meeting. That Zoom link is in the Gopher Gazette, so you can get that there. And we're also hoping that there will be a macOS 14.4.1 coming out real soon now that will solve these problems that I have described. So let's look at your questions, and please share that Gopher Gazette with anybody you know that uses Apple devices. And of course, we are looking forward to 14.4.1. Okay, so let's see what we got for questions. And Chris says he thinks that he can subscribe to other language pods too and get transcripts as originally done. Yes, I believe the transcripts are supporting several different languages. And Susan says transcripts are terrific because she learns better through reading as opposed to hearing. Good point. So Susan has updated and her HP laser printer is still working. Well, good, I'm glad. And her OWC hub does work, and the ports on her LG monitor work. So these problems are not, everybody. So there may be some other variables in there that nobody has quite discovered yet, that are causing these problems, but I'm glad to hear that no one here seems to be affected. So where does one find storage optimization? I don't see it under storage and system settings. Okay, great question. So we can show you that. I think I have settings set up here. No, I don't. Okay, so we'll just go to the Finder. And we will go to Settings. And you can see settings right there. And then you go to your name at the top. And then you go to iCloud. And then you go to iCloud Drive. And it should be in here. Oh, okay, here we go. So these are apps. Okay, that's not it. Okay, I thought it was right here. Oh, here it is. I see it. It's in the background there. Okay, here it is. Optimize Mac storage. So you can see I have it turned on. And that's where you turn it on, or if you have automatically updated to macOS 14.4, you would want to go in here and try to turn that off until they get that fixed. So I hope that answers your question. So, and then Susan says, off-site storage is very important. The woman I know lost everything, her computer and her drives, in a burglary. That is exactly why we want off-site storage, because you don't know what might happen. You could have a fire. You could have an A10 land on your house, heaven forbid. You just don't want to put all your eggs in one chicken by having your computer and the backup drive there in the same locale. So off-site storage is great. The one I use is Backblaze. A reason I like Backblaze is, number one, they will back up anything connected to one computer. So you could have 20 hard drives, if you could figure out how to do that, connected to your computer, and Backblaze would back up every one of those hard drives as well as your internal drive for the same price. Most other cloud storage services charge you by the terabytes or the gigabytes. And then the other thing I like about Backblaze, if you do totally lose everything, they will mail you or ship you a hard drive with your backup, and so you can restore it much faster than waiting for it to download across the internet, which if you have a lot of data, that can take hours or even maybe days. So Backblaze is my preferred and is the preference for many people in the Mac community around the world. Susan says, will we be told about the optimization bug when it's fixed? I'm sure with all the publicity that Apple has received on the bugs in 14.4, you will be informed. And of course, I will be informing you. Hopefully, by next week, they will have this fixed. And I can tell you then, and maybe if it's done by Monday, well, it'd have to be done by Sunday to be in Monday morning's GoFor Gazette. So I'm certainly keeping an eye on this. I'm checking lots of different news sources. I just did a search a few minutes ago on 14.4.1, and all I could find was people hoping that it happens soon. So it is hopefully in the works. Signs point to that is the case at Apple, and as soon as they get it all tested, it will be released. So we'll let you know as soon as that happens. So, if there's no more questions, if you think of anything after we sign off, you can always call me or email me, and that information will be coming up here shortly. So have a great first day of spring, and join us next week at high noon for another Go for Lunch. Take care.